Yo, yo, yo. Another episode of Black in a Box. Live. We good?
Yeah, I think we're good.
So good.
I think we're good.
So good. Guest today is Scully. Boop, 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 boop.
Hi. Yo, I didn't feel like I could speak until you introduced me there. So you asked feel good, so and I was just like, let me keep quiet till he actually says I'm here.
Is it? Well,
Technically, I'm not.
well, you're not, but you are.
Well, I'm here now.
Is it now?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We'll run through the rest. Some Jello, you good?
Very good, thank you.
Right, good to see you. Dom?
Yeah, man. I'm blessed.
Alana?
As well, blessed.
I am always blessed. And we are blessed, especially this episode. We're going to have a little music chat with Scully. It's your world, bro. We're all just living in it. That's how it feels sometimes. Popping up on all the channels.
You're giving me too much credit there. I'm just trying to survive the cost of living crisis, man.
Right.
In that club, deep in that club.
How was Lake Como?
I'm actually due to go there next summer.
I'm
due to go there next summer though. So
Touch road there quickly because it's nice.
Yeah?
Nice.
Yeah.
I want to see Fabregas playing in Serie B.
There we
P.
go.
Yeah.
There you go. Shout our boy Clooney.
Yeah, our neighbour for the week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah,
He's an investor in that team as well, isn't he?
Really?
Como, I think there's a few celebrity investors, so he might be. I'll have a double check. Yeah.
He wasn't actually on road, was he, when we were there?
We tried him.
Yeah.
George Clooney is one of the first men. This is way too much information to give in the first 3 minutes of podcast, but George Clooney is one of the first men that I ever looked at, and I was like, "Yo, this guy's kind of handsome, you know." He used to annoy me bare as a child. I was like, "Why do I think like?" Because I've never looked at someone and thought they're handsome, but this guy's kind of handsome, youth still.
Yeah.
I don't think you're alone in that. So
Yeah, but I was like 9. I was like, "Am I allowed to think another man is handsome?" Like.
It's an interesting one when you're a kid, isn't it? I'm trying to think who mine was.
Because who do you go tell? I'm going to go tell my dad, like, "Yo, dad, am I allowed to think a man is handsome?" Like, I was just like, "Yo, this is crazy. This is." I'm never watching a Clooney film again.
I'm confused.
Well, yeah, it's an interesting point because when you look at the people like that were thrown out as being Hollywood-style pinups, Clooney looked like a man, whereas the rest of them, it's like all that pretty boy, DiCaprio, like Brad Pitt. Clooney looked like a man still. So shout out Clooney, neighbour. Scully's going to book you next summer. So.
Apparently, you can actually rent his house out. I was speaking to my gaffer the other day, and he was like, "I think it's 150 a night."
Ooh.
I am not
Dollars.
telling my mum that. She'll make the money appear somehow.
150 a night, though, man. That's mad.
So yeah, Scully, you're here. We're going to talk your come up. Everyone kind of knows you from this music thing. And then of late, the football side of it has come through. And you start to do bits of things that are unexpected here, there and everywhere. Talk us through like your rise.
My rise. Well, I get up 6:30 most days.
Banana, Satsuma.
Yeah, and then I think about what I want to do. There's actually not much to it. Like, come up, I feel like is overarching and kind of, it's like there is a destination I'm going to. And I guess there is, but there also isn't. Like, from very young, I just decided I want to do stuff that I find interesting all the time. Like, I looked at and I've got like really interesting parents. Big up my mum and dad. Like, my dad is an engineer and my mum is a psychologist. Those are both things they learned. And like, but that's not the jobs they did. When I came up, they were like essentially doing odd jobs. Like, my dad worked for Royal Mail. My mum was like a cleaner, then a nurse. Like, so I've watched them class transition.
Yeah.
Well, starting off quite broke, and that's funny. I've got really young little brothers, and they're like, their life is very different from my life growing up. Like, they get most of the things that they want when they want. They get like nice holidays and all of this, and I'm like, it's weird because I looked at the idea of work when I was a kid, and I was like, this work thing's interesting, and I've got aunts and uncles, and they all do these jobs here, and some of them love them, some of them don't love them. But like, at the end of the day, I just want to like do things I like, so I can look back when I die and be like, yeah, I lived. Because like obviously it's cliche. Everyone's like, oh yeah, like you need to live, and not everybody lives, but everybody dies. All of those cliche phrases. But like the thing that would irk me the most on my deathbed is feeling like I just spent my entire time on the planet existing. Like I was just here. Like
I really felt that.
yeah, like no, but it's like because it's like why we hit like I don't think people, and maybe it's because this is gonna become an open therapy session, isn't it? This is what it gets me.
Yeah.
When you're a psychologist, this is how it goes,
It's
isn't
real.
it? But like I've been very aware of my mortality from like super young, like super young, like deaths in the family, deaths in like I remember I had a primary school teacher who passed away and stuff like this, and I'm just like, yo, people just are not here one day, like you're just not here, and like it's not that scared me, but it's like made me think, yo, like life is mad short, like really short, and like I said, imagine getting to the end of it, and all you've got to show for it is like, yeah, I worked quite hard, maybe I got a couple promotions, yeah, cool. That's about it. Like I work kind of hard.
Yes.
People like me. I got a few rounds in at the pub. Like, but like, what else? Like, what did you do? Like, what did you do that you wanted to do? And it's not so much about being selfish, and it's not also about completely being selfless, but it's about like melding both and just living to the best of your abilities within this kind of society, you know.
I just got to say, it's so wild that you're saying this because I totally resonate. And maybe after this, we'll have a chat about what your astrology is because I'm sensing a vibe.
My big three is basically, I shouldn't say it out loud. It says my friend. I have a friend called Toby who you should talk to actually. She'd be great for this podcast. She used to be a theatre producer, but now she's just a producer. She makes TV and directs as well. And I told her my big three once, and she said, "Oh my God, never repeat that out loud to anyone."
Wait, I need to. Well, what's your
can say it and then
what's your
I'm
sun?
Gemini
We'll put in a
first.
Oh, Gemini. So
Yeah.
you're my opposite. That's why we get along well. I can tell we're
I'm
gonna get
Gemini.
along.
What are you?
Totally. I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh, okay.
Very Sagittarius.
Yeah, what are you?
I'm Scorpio.
Okay, I go along with them. What are you?
I'm Scorpio.
This is why we clash.
I'm a Taurus.
There could only be one in the room.
And that's what we clash.
These are all signs I get along with. Through dating women, know enough about star signs to know which signs I get along with, and I get along with Scorpios particularly well. Get along with Tauruses quite well. My mom's a Taurus, but you lot are mad stubborn. So actually, we get along to a point, and then when we disagree,
Who's telling you
we
this?
get along.
Have you been looking at our group chat?
And yeah, Sagittarius is you lot. You don't speak about your emotions until you're pushed to it. That's what I feel like. Actually, no, that's Capricorns. No, my mistake.
That's Capricorns.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
I'll
more
let go off.
Capricorns. Yeah.
We've
But
lost
just-
that. We've lost that.
Sorry, we're going way off topic. But what I was going to say is that I just really resonate with what you're saying about like I've always been someone too who tries to keep death really close. That's just how I was really naturally. But I think not in a sort of morbid way, but just in a like, yeah, life is so precious. And probably on a daily basis, I always think I don't want to get to the end of my life and have not done something because I was afraid or this, that, and the other. And I think it just comes back to being like, I want to live the most authentic life that I can, the most joyful life, and just live the biggest version of Alana, or for you, maybe the biggest, best version of Scully. And I feel like that energy, like when you approach things with that energy, it's palpable, and other people are really attracted to that, which I'm sure we'll get into later as we talk
Do you
about
think
it.
that is because of your Latin American roots? Because they've got a way better relationship with death than I think we do over here.
I think it's been enhanced by that. So I'm
It's called La
part
Noches
Mexican.
de Muertes.
Yes.
I'm obsessed with that festival. I really want to go.
Oh yeah, we definitely need to talk about this then at some point. But so because I'm part Mexican, that definitely enhances it. And yeah, I think the view of how you live your life and then how you also regard death has impacted my ability to live really bigly and like to face things that I think are that I might be afraid to do, but I still take the leap anyway because I feel like I can't not do this just because I'm afraid or whatever. But I don't know, maybe we're getting ahead of ourselves here, but I just think that key thing that you just said is probably so key to how you've progressed in life.
Yeah. When you live, or when you die rather, all that's left is the talk of how you lived. So the bigger you live, the longer you live, in essence. Like, because if you like look at flipping Leonardo da Vinci, we still talk about him now. Like, the guy just made some inventions, lived how he wanted. Everyone was like, "You're crazy, stop doing that." And we're still talking about him. Like, we're talking about there's certain human beings that do what they do so authentically and so well. Like, even though it's contentious if he actually existed, but William Shakespeare, like, we're still talking about them, quoting them years later. So it's like, you don't think he existed?
I've studied William Shakespeare far too much. I don't want to get back into it.
I try and work it out. I'm like, was he real? Was he not real? I don't know.
I mean, he was factually he definitely existed. Whether he is the author of all of his works is a different question.
Yeah, but it's like Jake, man. Like, who really cares as long as the performance is good?
Wow.
You had me all the way.
That is more contentious.
No, I think it speaks really well to the kind of structure you've had growing up, because there is such a fear about stepping off the path, isn't there? I left teaching in 2018, very steady, very solid career. And when people ask me what I'm doing now, I say bits and bobs, because that is what I'm doing. But the bits and bobs I'm doing, I like. So I do a bit of acting because I like it. I do a bit of writing because I like it. I do a bit of theatre criticism because I like it. I'm doing some copywriting because I like it. But it took a long time for some of the people around me to kind of be, oh, what about, but don't you like having a steady wage coming through at the end of every month? And the way I had to explain it to people is, okay, let's say that in my last year of teaching, I was bringing in $3,000 a month. I can honestly tell you that a third, half of that was going on different kinds of medications to get me through the week. And I'm not talking like drug, I'm talking about I was at the pub. And when I talk to people about kind of drinking, 15, 20 pints a day, every day during the week just to get through it, I go, so am I making more money? Because that's what I needed just to get through the school day. And I see so many people that are trapped in jobs, and they say it. They'll say, well, I couldn't do what you do because I've got a mortgage, or I've got this to pay or that to pay, and it's like, so what?
Figure it out, fug it out. Those are my two life mantras. Like, you just figure it out and you fug it out. Like, sometimes the best thing to do is not give yourself an option, because then you're forced to make it work. Like, I always find people with safety nets will always allow themselves to be confined by the net. Like, what's there to make them feel safe eventually ends up trapping them. Whereas, like, if you just like jump out into the sea, you're gonna be fine eventually. You're gonna flare up first. You might drown actually, but at least you was in the sea for a bit. It looked pretty. You might have seen the sunset. It's all right. Like, just go. You're either gonna figure it out or you won't. And people just need to have less of a fear of failure. Like, it's okay to do things and they don't work, and then you do something else. Like, so many of the best inventions in the world have been things that were supposed to be one thing, then it failed, and then we have this. Like, penicillin was not supposed to be here. To heal headaches. They're trying to do something completely different, and then they're like, wait, hold on, actually this works. It's a painkiller. We'll just run with it. Like, think of your life like that. Like, just try things. Maybe you want to be the world's best, I don't know, biomedical science. No, not even that. Like, what's the word for people who look under the sea and find out?
Like an
oceanographer?
Marine biologist. That's the term I was looking for, yeah. And maybe you're a terrible marine biologist, but you find out actually you're quite good at diving. And you manage to explain to people, now you're a scuba diving instructor. Pretty interesting job. Probably better than whatever you would have done had you not tried that. Like, just fail sometimes.
I said the cub, but is it a saying? The cub that never knows hunger becomes the lion that never knows how to hunt. Like, you need to have learned that resiliency from young to be able to then step out later. So
it's true.
But but just quickly, at the same time, you had mentioned having a rough vision, and I think sometimes that also can be the thing that is helpful if you are going to take that leap of faith. Is, I might not know what lies between point A and point B, but I have a rough idea that point B is kind of what's guiding me. I don't know, what was kind of the vision that you talked about before?
Okay, cool. So my rough vision, it's just bullet points in a journal somewhere. I want to direct a film.
Nice.
I want to write a manga and make it an anime. I want to act in a really big film, like a classic film, like a James Dean type performance. Like everyone's like, oh shit. Like, can I swear? Can I swear? Of course.
Yeah. Public radio.
You know what it is? Yeah, because I'm so used to radio. I'm like, sometimes when I swear in front of a mic, I'm like, oh, am I allowed to say this? Yeah, I want to act in something. I want to write an amazing book, or 2 amazing books. Like one that's for like kids, like young children. Then one piece of young adult fiction. I want to work in music and make a classic album. Like it's not me performing, but I have to like get my Quincy Jones on, exec produce. Like I'm an A&R by day. Like that is my main job. So like to me, there's no point of being an A&R unless you make a classic song or a classic album. Like if you don't do either of those things, why are you really doing your job? Like you're just churning out music for whatever ends. Like that's useless. So I need to make a classic album. And those are genuinely it. I guess when I was younger, the wider goal was I want to work in music, I want to work in film, I want to write. And then as I've got more and further down those paths, I've been able to set certain things. Be like, I want to do this. Like I can say, like people are like, oh, you do stuff with Arsenal, that's really cool. And like they're like, why? What's your goal? And I'm like, I want to play in a testimonial match at Emirates. And they're like, okay, but like, why do you like do the football stuff? I'm like, no, that's it. That's the end goal. Like, I do all the other stuff so that one day I can put on the Arsenal kit and run onto the Emirates and play a game. Like, that's it. Like, I don't care about other stuff. Like,
opportunity knocks. Sometimes you just need to force the door open and you don't know when it's going to be. Like, I'm currently in my other job working with the RFL, and everyone's like, someone's asking me like just completely different conversation. Like, you finished with rugby? I was like, yeah, unless I get asked to play in the Legends game on a pitch with Jason Robinson and with a few of those man. And it's like you never know where life's going to take you, but it's not going to take you there unless you're just sort of prepping it. And you're priming it.
100%. Like there's like one of my other goals, my last goal is I want to go to the moon. So now I know eventually at one point I will need to interfere with NASA I go and be like,
NASA social.
Okay, cool. Like, I want to.
How many retweets? How many retweets you got?
Do you know what it is? Do you know what it is? And this is really bad. We stumbled upon one of my pet hates. Yeah, but like I hate. That's my pet hate. Yeah. I hate that. I hate it. Don't ask for retweets to get something done. Just go and get it done. Like, what do you mean? Like that. And when people they're getting bullied or racially abused or and then they video it and then they put it on Twitter and they say, Twitter, do your thing. What do you want me to do? You go and beat them up. You were with them. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I can't retroactively do anything now you show me this video. I hate it. Like, I actually hate it. It's one of my absolute biggest just pet peeves, because I'm just like, what?
Bro, hold on to that. You will need that at the end of the show. What I will say is, like, for that whole you want to go to the moon, bro, it's possible now. Like, my old job, my whole thing was, they were like, okay, what can we do to disrupt social? And there'll be different brands doing different things, and I'm like, who's famous? To what are they tweeting? And I'll just dig it out and say so and so wants to do this. Do you remember when, like, obviously Kyrie's flat earther, and I remember everyone ignores him, but Steph Curry went on some podcasting, I think might have been Old Man and the Tree, and he was like, I don't think they went to the moon, and everyone's like,
I don't think they went to the moon, by the way.
Yeah, well,
the first time was
yeah, he was like, they didn't go to the moon. And then what did NASA say? The next thing, they invite him like to come and see all the stuff. If he wanted to go to the moon, they would probably take him to the moon now to help prove this point, because as soon as it's like cheap and there's not all these wars and stuff going on, they will just be sending people to the moon.
If they can fly into asteroids now, they can send commercial flights to the moon.
So they just don't write that off.
Oh, I know that people are going to be going into the moon or to the moon regularly in my lifetime. I want to do it while I honor my hipsters
before it's
while it's hot.
Yeah.
I need to do it while it's still highly sought after. Like, who cares if I go at 70 when everyone's been to the moon?
I need to
do it when I'm like 40. Yeah, like, I need to like when I'm like 40, when they're still like, oh shit, you've been to the moon. Wow.
Like Croatia 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Can't even go Santorini anymore. It's
It's
done out
done.
here.
Rick Ross raps about it. Drop it. Like it's gone. Like I need to be at the moon in the next 10 years because I know it's becoming more commercial. Yeah. So I need to.
What? Hold on, what?
No, because William
Like
Shatner
7
was
people
like-
have been to the moon. Saying it's become.
Get in there. William Shatner came back. William Shatner came back and he said, "Yo, it's done out. It's not even
It's
cool."
double figures. It's
He
clap.
said, "Oh, it's boring. Like I just I didn't like it like that. That is already."
I went for that Rose album. We had the moon. We had the moon and shit.
If Meek Mill goes to the moon before me, I don't even want to go to it. I promise you. Meek Mill goes before me, it's off my list. I promise you.
Oh my god.
So, what they will say though, they'll say Scully's journey to the moon. Does it start with radio?
Yeah, I guess it doesn't start with radio. It's a long story, which I'll try and make very short. I'm 29 years old, and the journey starts at probably about 15, 16, and I'm going to try and condense that 14 years really swiftly right now. So, when I was 15, my dad is super into politics, so I was telling my parents, I'm ashamed to say that I was a Blairite until the whole messy Iraq stuff, but like I was very into reading as a child. Like my parents, like we moved around a lot and there was stuff going on like my inner family life, and like I said, like growing up we were very working class, like super working class, like sometimes we eat a bit for dinner sometimes.
Who were made to look stupid.
I was 6. Like, what do you mean? Like, at least I had political like leaders. What do you mean? I don't mind. You change your mind when you're presented with new information, innit?
Exactly.
So I read a lot as a child, and my dad used to.
Labour manifesto.
Nah, not whoa,
That's it.
close, not quite. So I used to read a lot, and then I'd run out all the books like in the school library and then local libraries. And then my dad eventually started giving me his books, which was like Stephen King, and then he had like what's that Jackal book about Osama bin Laden's life? Something about like the coat of Jackal, something like that. I remember reading that, and then a book by Tony Blair and stuff like that. And suddenly I was like, oh, I'm into politics now. That was just the thing. Like my parents bought The Guardian a lot growing up, so like I used to just read that, and I was like, okay, this is my thing now. And then my biggest aim as a child was to be the editor of The Guardian. Like that's what I wanted to do when I was like 10ish, 11, 12. So I started taking an interest in politics, and then people were like blogging these times. I grew up like in the blog era, so I was like, yo, like maybe I'll just talk about politics. And then I would send these like essays into newspapers, and they'd be like, how old are you? Where are you from? And I was like, yeah, I'm 13 from South London. And I'd be like, yeah, nah. And it would go nowhere. And I was like, right, like, okay, people don't want to hear what I have to say. Cool. So then I was like, what can I write about that nobody's going to ask my age and where I'm from? So I started writing about music. Like, because when you send a music article into a music publication, they do not email you back and say, how old are you, where are you from?
Yeah.
They just say, yo, this is good, or they say, yo, this is bad. When you write about other subjects, quantum physics, politics, all of this shit, they're like, yo, how old are you, what are you studying? Like so I was like, okay, the barrier for entry here is the lowest possible point that I can get in, so let's start with the music thing. And I'd always been mad into music. Like one of the things that me and my dad super agreed on is music and how important it was. He made me play instruments, all of this. Like I was classically trained, and I moved on to do other things. So like that was like probably the first quote unquote middle class thing I did in life. Like my dad was like, no matter where we are, no matter where we live, you're gonna learn an instrument because it will help you focus. Mean that you're not like always causing trouble. I was I wasn't a naughty kid. I was just a very curious kid. Like I always had questions. I was smart ass actually. Rascal's too light. Smart ass is probably the best. Like I used to. This is something I used to do in primary school, which will give you an example of the type of kid I was. I would steal a lot of books from the library, first of all, and then they would come calling for my parents and be like, yo, these editions of this I've been missing for like a couple of days. And my mum would be like, yeah, Jason has them. And I would correct my teachers a lot. Like a lot, to the point that I would get like suspended. Like what have you done? Like I had one teacher who had dyslexia. I didn't know she had dyslexia, and I was like 8, and she would like be spelling things, and I'd be like, that's wrong. It's like And she was like, what? And I was like, miss, you're spelling it wrong. Like, spelled like this. And she was like, what's wrong with you? Like, she felt like because she felt like I was undermining her in front of the class, which in hindsight, I probably was. But also, I'm like weirdly obsessed with the objective truth of things. Like, I'm really obsessed with it. Like,
Gemini, I'm telling you.
yeah, in arguments, my friends hate it because like I will not let go. I'm like a pit bull. I won't let go until we reach the objective truth. Like, I don't care what my bias is or your bias is. What is the objective truth? So my teachers would be spelling or saying certain things. I'll be like, this is wrong. Like this is what it is type thing. And then they'd be like calling my parents in like, yo, like he undermines us in front of the class. Like, and also I was a bit of a joker. So they were like, and he's a class clown. It's not enough for him to be right. He also just wants to take the piss. So yeah, I was writing about music with all of this pent up reading and writing, like not frustration, but like just stuff I picked up. Like, again, for being naughty in school, my dad and my mum would make me read books on grammar. Like, they'd be like, you're gonna have to write out these lines and you're gonna have to read this book on grammar and learn that way type thing. Yeah. So I just had like a stupidly advanced reading age as a child. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna write. Like, why not? Like, I can do it type thing. So I started writing about music, started a blog for my friend. The blog actually did like quite well. He ended up getting a job like at One Extra. I ended up getting a job at Vice. By now I'm like 18. Like, fast forward to like I'm 18. We're like doing these things. We're like, raw, like we're kind of inside. Like, all right, cool. And then you kind of think, because of the type of child I was and the type of way I thought, I was like, I'm 18. I'm in Vice. Pete's One Extra. This is it. We've done it. It's game over. Yeah. I mean, you can't tell us shit. Like, the guy, like, everyone wants to work for Vice. I'm 18. I'm working on Vice. I ain't fucking got into uni yet. Like, what are you telling me? Like, I'm the best ever. Like, you're foolhardy in that way. And then, because we fast forwarded to 18, by this time I'm smoking weed and like I'm turning up to the office. So I've applied to. I'm in uni. I'm also still very working class. So I've got to pay my own rent. So I'm going to Pret at 5 a.m. I'm doing the breakfast shift till 10, leaving, going to Vice, which is around the corner, like 10 to about 2, 3. Then I'm leaving, then I'm going to uni till like 8, 9, like catching up on what I missed, doing all of this. And I'm just like, no, it's calm. That's just is what it is. That's just is what it is. But I would turn up to uni and to Vice like, hi, so, and like, they knew I had potential. They were like, yeah, you can definitely do this. Like, obviously, that's why they brought me in at a young age. But like, I didn't realize the gap between where I was, I guess, quote unquote, intellectually, like the stuff I knew and the stuff that I could articulate, and where I was as a man, like as an adult man. So like being responsible, showing up, putting in effort, all of this stuff. Like, I just thought, I can do it, therefore I'm doing it. Yeah. Like, whereas there was actually a gulf between my ability and what I was getting done. So like, also at the time, like, I didn't really want to work for Vice. Luckily, I got my dream job really young, which also explains why I don't have any ties or allegiance to working. Yeah. Because when you get your dream job young, you realize, yo, there's no such thing as a dream job. This is still a job. Like, yeah. So next year, I've dropped out of uni. I'm talking to Vice, so I did journalism at uni, and like I did my NCTJ.
I always wonder about this. So me and you got weirdly similar. I was on all the different blogging platforms. I was on Blogger. I was on the MSN Spaces. I used to do like roundups of the nights out when we were at college. Yeah. So I'd write everything that happened on that night, but I'd change names and just change little details. So if you were there, you knew what I was talking about, and everyone was loving it. And then I used to like I'd write to the newspapers, like try and get them to give me a go. And eventually the time to like just come and do an internship. And I was a bit older than you, so I was like 20. I think I was 20 plus 1. It was like 3 days after my birthday, and I got my first byline. It's the same thing. I was like, no one can even chat to me now. But I was not trained in it. You know, when you just writing about it, and then it's really weird just being able to do something that other people like striving to do. And like, you might have known you're a good writer, but when that's validated by other people, you're like, it's long for you.
And this is why you always have to have goals, because if you think about, I'm a storyteller, but if you think about stories and stories that we get told from kids, you don't even get to see the happily ever after. You get and they lived happily ever after. You don't see 5 minutes after Ariel gets married in The Little Mermaid.
And it definitely wasn't happily ever after.
And that's it. Like, because you don't see when it's like, this is meant to be my perfect day, and you've got fucking mustard on your shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the reality of it can never match up to the dream. And so it was so funny. I wrote a whole bunch of dreams in 2018. I've achieved every single one of them. But I'm sitting here thinking like, but I'm not satisfied. I need more. And so I think that everything that you two have just said, I think that's a universal condition. Like, because what it is that you're not looking at the other people. You're like, if I do this, then I validated myself. And then you go, but I'm 19 now. I might have another 60, 70 years. I can't be in 40 years being like, yeah, well, I was working at Vice when I was 18, or yeah, I got a Times byline when I was 21, or yeah, I was working for Deloitte in my early 20s. You know what I mean? It's like, because do you know how many people would be like, Deloitte is the dream job? How many people would be like, if I could get a byline in the Times? How many people would be like, oh, you work for Vice? How many people, oh, you work for Netflix? It's like...
But that's the thing, isn't it? Because where we all come from socioeconomically, so many of our parents' and grandparents' lives, it was you get that job and you stay in that job. So it's difficult to actually think of an alternative for yourself until you were starting to be in that alternative, because that was exactly what it was for me. I remember when Deloitte called me and offered me the job and I saw my starting salary, I was like, I thought I'd be earning this when I was like 50. Like this was it for me. So it's like when you have lived so much of your life with a singular vision because you think that's all you can really amount to, but that is still success as far as you're seeing it. Once you get that at such a young age, it's like, well, what do I do now? And I'm struggling with that like to this day, because it's like I've exceeded so much of what I thought we'd get to at 31. So it's now like, right, now we kind of got to go back to the drawing board and figure out what else there is out there that we can do, because like you've done, like what we've all done in this room, shit is achievable. Very, very easily achievable if you equip yourself in the right way. And then it's like finding that follow-up point, I think, is a difficult part.
But then it's also looking behind the curtain, isn't it? Like, I remember the most money I've earned in my life for a job that lasted longer than a few hours. That sounded really weird. Netflix paid very, very well, and I only did a few hours of work, really, when you think about it. That's what I meant. But I worked in oil and gas. And it was that thing of like, gosh, I'm 20, 22. People would be like, oh, do you want to fly out to Oslo and deliver a talk? But actually, it's just a piss up. It's like, no, I've got to be back for other stuff. But it was this crazy lifestyle. And I'll never forget, there was a point where I was running these numbers in an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm like, the numbers are off. My numbers are never off. And it was like you didn't talk to somebody senior because you knew how much they charge per hour. So it like had to be a big problem for you to go to someone. It's like, sort your own problems out. And I was like, it was $100,000 US. I was like, I cannot find this $100,000 US in the spreadsheet. He's like, no, don't worry about it. And he said it real quick, but like, just leave it. It's fine. And then later that night, we were out and we're having a few drinks, and he gets unguarded. And I'm like, what's that $100,000 about? He goes, and he just went, it's easier to deal with pirates than governments. And I was like, I'm on the wrong side here. I'm on the wrong side here. And what it was is that basically, if you work in oil and gas, especially off-sea oil, I think people think that when somebody gets kidnapped by a pirate, it's like Captain Phillips and there's going to be... No. What happens is your contractor gets kidnapped. They will email you, this is the amount. You wire it to them. That guy's probably eating steak and lobster. Like he's living well because it's just part of the business, and he then gets released. That's but it's factored into the costs. But you go, well, 100,000 sounds like a lot. Not really, because if there's a government that's going to charge you appropriate business taxes on your explorations, that 100,000 is a drop in the ocean. Like we would put together like £6 billion exploration deals. So you can see, and you go, but remember, I'm working in oil and gas. People are saying that I've got access to the company credit card.
That shit can bite you real quick.
But this is it. But then you go, but hold on a second. There's people at the other end of that. And that's why I like what I'm doing. And I know, Dom, you've gone freelance or contracting. I always mix the two terms up. Because it is that thing of I just need the freedom because there's more of a world to explore. So yeah, man, I respect what you're saying about you're not impressed by yourself. That's it.
Always factor miscellaneous money is a life lesson. That's a gem.
Yeah.
As somebody who works in production as well. Always factor in miscellaneous money because there's always going to need to be money.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's for pirates, sometimes it's for extra meals at the end of the set. Who knows? But you always need miscellaneous money. But yeah, I was Vice, got there. I left. I remember leaving uni because I was basically at Vice. I was like, yo, I need to be a presenter. Like, I want to be a presenter because I've always wanted to make documentaries. I'm like, I want to be a documentarian. And I know about music. I know about the music scene. I know about subcultures. I love subcultures and music and all of this. So just get me doing the documentaries that you have that nerdy white guy doing. Like, I can do them and it won't be weird or corny or voyeuristic.
Was this pre-Noisy?
It was. Noisy was around. Noisy was around this time. And they were like, yeah, sounds like a good idea, but you're not ready. Like, you have to be ready, like, to do the stuff. Like, you need to cut your teeth and do certain things and And I was like, okay, whatever. And then someone in the office was just like, oh, you've got an interesting voice and you're passionate about what you speak about. Have you ever thought about doing radio? And I was like, why not? Like, go to this radio station called Represent Radio. It's in South London, so it's not too far from you, and just see if they've got any shows. I walked in that weekend and somebody was doing their first show and they were really nervous, like really anxious. I don't really get anxious ever unless it's about girls meeting my parents or friends, or if it's about doing something, because I'm used to being good at stuff. If I have to do something I'm not good at in public, like I DJ'd out for the first time in ages 2 weeks ago, and I used to be able to DJ, but because I haven't done it in ages, I was really nervous. My friend was like, yo, I've never seen you this nervous before. And I was like, because I'm good at shit, bro. Like, if I do this, I'm not good at it, it ruins everything. Like, that's how my mind works. But yeah,
it's the crack.
Yeah, so I've gone to radio, and this person is anxious over their show. They've sent me in there and they're like, oh, just go and co-host with her and like help it go smoothly, and then we'll come back and talk to you about doing chain and getting involved. And then I came out after that 2-hour show and they're like, wow, you're a natural. Like, and shout out to that girl. I don't remember her name. I've never seen her again. I don't know what she's doing now. She didn't stay. I ended up staying. I ended up getting chained. I ended up being a represent and doing lots of things with them, brand partnerships, A&R in like sync deals, so music for movie, sorry. And then from there, I got a job at One Extra. No, actually, from there, I got a job with Viacom producing Yo MTV Raps for the UK when that came back.
Had you left Vice by this point?
Yeah, I left Vice like a year after. So by the time I got to represent, I was like, they don't want me to do documentaries. I'm not trying to write about like 80s techno music every week.
Tired of being paid in coke. Shout out everyone at Vice. It's true.
I was going to say, yeah,
true.
Stuff came out in the expose, yeah, and I was like, damn, I never got paid in drugs. Yeah. But I wish I got paid in drugs because I could flip drugs. I was getting paid fucking travel and food. If someone gave me some drugs, I could flip that. I know how to do that. That's simple. Like, I wish somebody would give me a half ounce of coke because we can work with that. Like, no, what can you do with?
He doesn't though.
With a meal deal. I can't. Yeah, I don't. I don't.
Not.
That's theoretical, hypothetical.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I would have preferred that. Like, so yeah, I ended up working at Viacom, and it's all a story of patience as well. Because the people I ended up working with at Viacom are people I met when I was 19, 20, around the time I was in Vice, and I went to South by Southwest because I also used to work for a music startup, and I went to South by Southwest. And I met people who worked in production for this show I loved on Channel 4 called 4 to the Floor. I was like, I want to come work with you. I should present it. And they're like, yeah, but you're not ready yet. And I thought they were blowing me off. And then I'm like 24. I've been at Represent for a bit. I'm like, what's the next step? I need to take the next step. I'm doing Represent, but it's like voluntary, like community radio freelancing. So I'm like part-time in Labrooks trying to like make up the money. I'm like, I'm 24 now. I'm too old to like piss about. I need a real job in music, but nobody's giving me one. Everyone wants to give internships. A rapper walked into my Labrooks. I'm not even gonna say what rapper. Actually, no, I will. Yeah, big up Seeks from Section Boy. He walked into my Labrooks. Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, like Scully," and I was just like, "Yeah." He's like, "What you doing here?" I was like, "I work, I got a job." He's like, all he said was like, "But you're Scully," and then just walked out. And I was just like, and I was pondering it, and I was just sat there for like, I remember that for like 2-3 hours. And I hated that job. The job was making me literally depressed. You know when people are like, oh, I'm depressed. I was like, I didn't realize till 2 years after the job. I was like, nah, bro, you were depressed, bro.
Yeah.
I was crossing the road thinking, yo, I'm not checking because if a car hits me, it hits me. I don't give a fuck.
It's fine.
It is what it is. Like, I was so deep in the trenches.
Wow,
like,
man.
and I did not realize because I just thought that's what it is. I was like, you wake up, you go to work, you come back, and you're just surviving till you get the next thing.
Oh.
And it's only when I got out of that, I was like, bro, you was not okay. Like, but yeah, he said that. I ruminated on it and I said, you know what? I hate this job and I am Scully. Like, one thing is true, I am Scully. So I quit. Literally the very next day, the week before my 24th birthday, I got a call from those same people from Four to the Floor and they're like, yo, we're working on this exciting project with MTV and we want you to come and be the junior producer on it. Like, you'll be the youngest producer there, but like, we think you could do it if you got the chops. And I was like, bro. Like, I thought you lot were chatting shit 5 years ago when you're like, yeah, one day. Like, you doing it's yeah, whatever type thing. But it came through and like, yeah, I did that. Year on TV Raps was a resounding success. I did 2 series with them. And then I got a job at One Extra. Did that for a year. Won an ARIA, which is like a radio BAFTA.
Yeah.
And then I left like when my contract was done. Because when you're in there, I love radio. I love what the BBC helped me do on my CV and my resume and all of this stuff. But when you're in there, you're either a producer or presenter. And I wanted to be a presenter. But I was good at producing and I knew how to produce. And it was like, if I stay here, like we were talking about earlier about people who stay here, this is the end goal,
Yeah.
and they're there
Yeah.
forever. Like, people are there, you get your pay rises, your promotions, and then you could theoretically be a producer at the BBC until you retire. I could have done that from age 25, 26 when I got a job until 76, and that just be it. And I was like, I don't want that. That's absolutely not what I want. So I got to go now before I get a pay rise, and then I'm used to the money. And then I'm 26, 27, getting X amount of money a year, and I just think, yeah, this is nice.
Yeah.
I'm too comfy. I'll have the safety net. So I'm a bit tapped. So I will take a knife to the safety net and destroy it before it traps me type thing.
Yeah.
So I left, and then I kind of just figured it out. I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a bad boy producer. Last 2020, I'm like, I'm going to be a bad boy presenter. Sorry, like, I've done work with Cop and Lighty. They're sending me to all these grounds around the country to like talk to football fans. And I was like, yeah, we're going to do stuff around the Euros. We're talking about doing something with Evra. Yeah.
And Poets old
Ready.
gigs.
Actually, I had to text Poet and be like, oh, bro.
They chased him out.
It's awkward, man. It's
If
awkward
Poet and
because
Luge's old
that's
gigs.
actually my guy. Like, they're both my guys. So I was like, yo, hope you don't mind, but only half a met. But no, they were cool with it. And but so that's what I thought I was gonna do. And then eventually I got the call from Vice. We're gonna make a documentary, all of this stuff. I'm like, yo, it's all happening. Like, it's finally happening. Like 8 years later than I thought it would, but it's happening. And then COVID happens.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh shit. And I remember I was on the way to the studio. I actually have it saved on my phone. I have a screenshot, yeah. I was on my way to the studio to film my first thing with Vice, like as a front-facing presenter, just me. And they texted me and said, yo, don't come to the studio. We're going into a nationwide lockdown. Like, there's just no point. And I was aware of COVID. I've been watching COVID from like the December times.
Yeah.
And I said, yo, this is shit kind of concerning me. It's a bit, And I had tickets to go to Barcelona with 3 of my friends, my friend Arj, my friend Ross, my friend Jude. We were going to go to Barcelona, go to Camp Nou, so watch Messi, all of this stuff. And it was like 2 weeks away, maybe a week away. And then like, are you packed for the holiday, ready? It was on the week of, like, Arj's like, are you checking in, all of this stuff, passport, all good? And I just kept going back to the group chat. I said, guys, this ain't happening. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, guys, it's not happening. Like I know you guys are trying to ignore the COVID thing, yeah, but it's not happening. There's no way they're letting us leave this country and go to another country. I was like, no, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be fine. We're gonna do it. Like, it's now the Friday or the Thursday, whatever day we go into lockdown. Yeah, Ross is like, yo, like, I'll come stay at yours before we go to Barcelona. I was like, what do you mean we're not going? Like, it's not been announced, but I was just saying it's not happening. Everyone's like, stop being so negative. Like, it's happening. It's happening.
Man.
Bro, I'm on the way to the studio having this argument by text. I was like, we're not going. And I get a text, don't come studio, national lockdown. I say, yo, I'm an idiot. I just left a well-played BBC job to be a full-time presenter, and now we are in a global pandemic. Like, that's it. I'm done. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going back to Labyrinth, bro. Like, there's nothing. Like, what am I doing? Because I didn't finish uni. I bet on myself. The bet has not come in how I want it to come in right now.
Yeah.
We are screwed. That's what was going on in my head. Obviously, I got a friend Henry, who I met from Represent, who is a radio presenter. Another friend Jojo, who me and Jojo is just kind of like, we cross paths. And it was just like, yo, I see you. He's like, yo, I see you. Like, we did different things. He's a designer by trade first. He's a graphic designer first. Like, people know Jojo for his designs. I am like, it took me ages to call myself creative, and big up Jojo, because I think Jojo is one of the first people who made me feel okay to say that.
Yeah.
Because like, bro, you're creative. You're just creative with words and with storytelling and all these other things. Like, that is a talent in itself. The things you can do with words are not necessarily what I can do, but maybe I'm better on Photoshop. Like, those are different skills type thing. But he was just a friend that I had who did creative stuff, and he had his group of friends who were also trying to do creative friends, like Gadir, who's a little bit younger than us. She's like 23, but she'd been active. Like, me and Gadir always used to talk music. So I was like, right, this is a girl who's mad younger than me, but she gets this music in the same way that I do. And like Huda, who like was studying to be a lawyer, but was just like super on it and on point and all of this. So they're like, yo, they've been throwing parties recess, and they're like, yo, we're gonna do a radio arm of it. In December, me and Jojo and Huda had this conversation. A few others of them, Gadir was there. We were like, yeah, we're gonna do a radio arm of the parties, so just so we can broadcast the parties. But like, we don't really have as much radio experience, so like maybe you could help us in a few things. I was like, yeah, I'm planning to go freelance from BBC anyway, so I hope you out, and we can start doing a few shows and all of this. Like, we had that conversation in December. COVID's happened. It's at March. I'm just texting Henry and Jojo just as friends, just like, yo, like, I ain't got shit to do, bro. I'm a freelance presenter. I cannot present anything. There's no sets open. There's no, the radio's not open. There's nothing for me to do. Like, in this time, I was just caning freelance shifts at the BBC. And then Jojo was like, yo, why don't we just like do radio? Like, let's just put on some radio. Let's just experiment with it type thing. I remember I produced the first 10v10. I didn't present it. I produced it. Henry and this other guy, Seeps, presented it. And I had just finished producing Rampage, on 1Extra on a Sunday, and I had my laptop and I was just in the building, and I think I finished at like 5. The 10v10 went out at 6, so I did my after show work and I put out my laptop in the BBC building, and like Jojo was streaming it from the server there, but I was monitoring the sound and doing the levels and all this. And we're just like, yeah, this will be fun. Like, we'll just do this in lockdown for our friends. We're just gonna make content for our friends, and then when furlough ends and all of this shit ends, I will probably have to get a real job, which entails me being in an office and getting 50k a year to do data entry or whatever it is. Like, that is my future. Like, you're too old for the presenting thing, just give up, bro. That's how my head was going. And then Seeps, big up Seeps, he did end up staying on 10v10. He's a good presenter, but it wasn't necessarily the correct energy needed for that show. I've obviously got a working relationship with Henry. And even beyond that, she's just one of my best friends. Like, I love her. That's my little sister. Like, so we just tried it out. I was like, Joe, I think I could do this, like, I think obviously there's other stuff I want to present. I want to do more political stuff. I want to do more serious stuff, but give me a shot on this. Like, I think me and Henry can do this show well. So we just did it. Bro, it just ended up snowballing. Like, from nowhere, like 1 week, it was like Kojo Funds and Jay Hustle tweeting it saying, yo, like, they did a head-to-head here and there, you lot tap into this. Then I'm presenting it, like, from my mum's house, because I moved back home in COVID, and like, Popcorn shouting us out, and I'm like, so my mum, I got moved to Southampton to go to secondary school, because I was in trouble in secondary school. And then my mum moved out there, my mum and dad moved out there while I was in secondary school, and they live there now, So I'll come back to London because I'm like, I want to be in London, like, but they stayed there, like, oh, that's nice peace, like pace of living is different, it's a little bit cheaper, all of this stuff. I've gone back there during COVID, and I'm in this, I don't even have a bedroom at my mum's house because I don't live there, because I live in London. I'm in my little brother's room. He didn't even have a desk. He had a desk with a chest of drawers, and I had like a chair, and I got my laptop on top of it. And Popcorn is on Instagram Live saying, yo, lock into NS 10v10, my guy Scully on there right now. I'm thinking, yo, what is going on? Like, because 1 month ago I thought, yo, I need to start looking for data entry. And now artists that I listen to and think are amazing are on Instagram Live shouting out some idea that we've had. Like,
yeah. But that's like thing, right? Like, you just described your whole journey from 15 to now, and it's like you said that you were. I mean, I think for any creative, and when you're hit with, I don't know, just an act of God, something like a global pandemic, you start to have all that self-doubt and anxiety, right? But the reality is, like, you had done the work over that decade or so to get you to that point to where as a creative person and somebody who has a sense of hustle and somebody who is motivated by a sense of like a greater purpose and a joy, to be resilient in a situation like that. And I feel like you had all the tools necessary, and maybe sometimes it takes sort of a event outside of your control for you to have to activate that sort of thing.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think my whole life up to that point was cutting my teeth and picking up the skills, like you're saying. And then because I grew up broke, to be frank, I'm used to just getting it going with nothing.
Yeah.
Like, so the pandemic was just like, yo, let's get going. We got 3 MacBooks each. We got a Focusrite little sound box. We got mics. Let's go. Like, let's just get it done, DIY.
Yeah.
And then it went boom. And now it's like, it's been fantastic because I'm now in a position where when I go and apply for work, people are like, we saw what you could do with literally nothing. Of course, we think if we give you a budget, you might be able to make more stuff happen. Very thankful. Big up Jojo and David as well for bringing me into their group and their gang High Roller Company and making something beautiful with no signal.
Bro, yeah, we're gonna get into sort of NS10v10. I think we just need to. We're gonna drop.
Have you got enough time, by the way? I know that was long.
Just about, I think, halfway through.
Yeah, you got like 40 minutes.
Okay,
Okay, we'll get through.
I'll give you no more long answers.
We're gonna put. We just have to put Kanye last call underneath that monologue. I mean, So I started a new job the week before lockdown, and I remember I didn't even think about it. I was like, and then they said, "Oh, we're just doing a week from home, and then we'll probably be back in work." And obviously, we didn't go back in for 18 months. But when we started working on stuff, I was a creative. It's just one of those things. It's like you just come up with ideas for stuff. And we were working on a project for Gatorade at the time, I remember, and they wanted to do like a home workout thing, and they were late on it. Everyone was like, Nike was doing it, but what you saw, how anything community driven during that first bit of lockdown, because like I said, people had nothing to do. But anything it had to be like from the people and had to be authentic, and that kind of stuff thrived. So like Joe Wicks, just a guy.
Yeah, Joe Wicks is, it's so funny, man. It's so funny.
I used to see him flying outside Surbiton Station when I used to work at TUI Travel, and I was like, scruff, just flying around. And then he was doing the thing where he just threw stuff into like a blend it, rah, and everyone loved it. And then now he's the nation's PE teacher.
It's crazy because he's not even like that. He's obviously fit because he works out a lot, but he's not that like I do sometimes like do his HIIT workouts, and he'll be pulling out his inhaler and like pausing. I'm like, bro, you're actually like you're obviously in shape, but you're genuinely an average guy.
Bro, bro, he's so smart. He's so smart. It's the Steph Curry thing where normal people think they can be him, forgetting Steph Curry's 6'3" and an actual freak of nature. Like this, we are talking about Steph. Well, I'm not. Steph Curry's top 1%, but like Joe Wicks, he does not need that inhaler. But like, he's just. You not reckon? He's just trying to be a normal guy. I reckon he could go in and enter in like CrossFit Open and do good things.
You're right. Actually, you're actually right.
What's the point in him? If you're trying to, if you need to be on BBC, he's wearing those like £1 plimsolls. The guy's, he's breaded. He's fine.
Yeah, because that's the other thing about his workouts. Watching his garden evolve, like from him being in like this tiny little flat to like now you can't see the back of his garden. Yo, he did it, my guy. Look at me.
But yeah, Joe Wick smashed it. Like Jello, your whole thing popped off. Like Munya blasted off. Anyone who was like just an authentic person, just people were just seeing him on Twitter. Those things kicked off, and I think
big up Munya, also representing alumni, by the way. My guy, that.
Absolutely, and it's like just that's what people need at the time. And I think NS10v10, like it just popped out that sort of need for community and that need for normality. That barbershop thing, people just sitting around on time. Obviously, versus happened at the same time, but you couldn't interact with that in the same way you could interact with NS10v10. And I could not believe how big it got. Like
so quickly as well.
100,000 people listening to songs like that. The whole sort of WizKid vibes thing. Just I had to stop listening after that.
I'm not involved. I'll tell you exactly what I was doing that night. I was at my mum's. I was in really good shape actually before lockdown. Like I was working out religiously, like running to the park. Go to the park, hella pull-ups, hella push-ups, all of this shit. Hadn't been drinking for months. Like I've been teetotal. Lockdown came, I moved back with my mum. Within a week, I bought a litre of rum. I haven't got back in shape since. Like, I'm like trying to fight it. I'm like, yo.
That first few weeks of lockdown was ridiculous though. Like
Bro.
I had a
Wednesday
cider
Wednesday
every
Literally,
night.
like,
Every night.
day was Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When WizKid versus Vibes happened, yeah, that was I did Burna Boy Popcorn, and that was the lead up. to
Yeah.
it. And like Burna Boy and Popcorn locked in. That's when we got like the 100,000. I said, yeah. I was off for WizKid Vibes. Henry was presenting it, which meant that like I was helping Joe and some other people with the production. I was at my mum's. I was like, yo, you know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna cane a weed brownie and get high as shit, and I'm gonna drink some wine. I was so toasted when that whole show was going on that when people were tweeting so fast and all this stuff was going on, like, bigger than we thought, yeah. I felt like Neo in the Matrix, like, you know when it's coming down the screen, like it was just coming down the screen. I was just there like, yo, this is fucking intense, bro. Like, can everyone chill out? Like, this is so much like going on.
Was it Lev's getting chased off the internet, bro?
Yeah. Oh, and everyone's like messaging me and
Not
shouting
even
at
having
me
fun
like,
anymore.
why have you done it? Like you, when we come in, you're like, yo, why do you do this to Vibes? I'm like, bro, I'm not involved. I'm literally off an edible. Yeah, I'm left alone. Yeah, I want to get underneath the duvet and have a nice night listening to two of the greatest musicians. Yeah. From black culture, WizKid and Vibes plays music. Everyone leave me alone, and I get it so much. Like I go places, people like, yo, why do you do Vibes like that? Oh, you must be a big WizKid FC fan. I'm like, you don't get it. First of all, the WizKid FC fans were assaulting us as well. They're like, yo, respect the GOAT, WizKid. How dare you? Like, we were front page news in Nigeria for a sec and in Jamaica, and both sides hated us. And it's like, yo, how it was supposed to be. Second of all, we don't control the votes. People thought we rigged it. You lot are voting. It's
Hold
the
on.
Oh, here we
The
go.
track list.
That's Levs. That's not.
That's
me.
why he's seen them. He ain't allowed into the still black parts of Brixton anymore. Like,
Still black.
No, do you know it is with Levs? You know, with Levs, yeah. Similar to when me and Henry did the Drake and Rihanna thing, yeah. Although I had a handicap, but Levs didn't have a handicap, but he did this. As we did a similar thing, yeah, which is when you really know an artist, yeah, you try and show how much you know the artist. So you say, yo, I'm not going for the bangers.
Deep
I'm going
cuts.
for the deep cut. I need to show you that I'm the expert.
Oh, you don't know about this one.
You get it? Yeah. See, that is like, you don't know about this tune. I'm going to show you tune.
Yeah.
And like, nah. NSME is not that type of show. We put it like hits. Play the baitest song, and it will win. And it's like, so I feel for Levs because he's actually a really good DJ and a really big Vibes fan. But he should have just come with the top list. He should have just gone on Vibes, Spotify, and picked the biggest Vibes.
I'm not gonna lie, that bit where he just went, "I'm not even having fun anymore."
That's how I felt. That's actually how I felt. Because you know that the saying, oh, don't encroach my high, don't encroach my high, don't harsh my high.
Yeah.
Imagine the entire planet harshing your high. Like, literally, the whole internet is harshing your high. Like, yeah, man.
That should have been such a big moment for my guy. And I remember I was like, I am in the eye of a storm. And like you say, like it's just going down so quickly on the thing. And Mo Gilligan, he must have had a few people tweeting for him because he was just every other tweet was him.
No, people were just that quick and that incensed, bro.
It was unbelievable.
Like, when we did the Drake and Rihanna one, so I lost the first 3 or 4 rounds, and then I made a comeback and it was 4-4, and then I think, or maybe it's like 4 or something like that. But I ended up losing by 1 song. Yeah, losing by 1 song. And at first of all, it pissed me off here because I asked the man, I was like, yo, should I play? Because I've been playing deep cuts, and then I switched. I played some hits, and then I was like, yo, should I play Fire and Desire, or Deep Cut, or should I go for Hold On We're Going Home, cheap easy hit? Everyone was like, yo, play Hold On We're Going Home, easy hit. And then I didn't play it, Fire and Desire, and then everyone was screaming, why did you play Fire and Desire? Fucking idiot. I was number 3 trending in the world. Literally in the world. Yeah? In the entire Twitterverse. Yeah. I was the 3rd biggest trending topic. Yeah. The man that were in my group chat saying, you fucking idiot, why you play Fire and Desire? I was like, are you all sick? Are you all sick? You all told me to play this song. Like, people were sending me death threats for 4 months. They're like, you must fucking hate Drake. How dare you stand for I was like, bro, like, it's not that serious, guys. It's a game show, like, bro.
Oh man.
Internet, people get brave on the internet when they can't see your face, boy.
I think there's people that have been brave on the internet, man. It's like, do you realise I'm 6'5" and 19 stone 2 years ago? Like
2 years ago.
Yeah, but it's lockdown and you can't go anywhere.
like if this is the way you want it to happen, this
It's
is
the
where it
death
can
of
happen.
getting banged in the face. I've said this 1,000 times. That's what it is.
Oh, I'm really. Actually, I can't say that.
Don't say that.
No, I'll say that off camera.
Yeah.
But basically, if you say stuff online, I'm very outside. So at some stage, you're gonna see me. Like,
Catch me. Yeah.
So someone get Jada kissing.
and I'm just gonna say, is people have a nerve of cussing stuff I do as a presenter, and knowing that I'm affiliated through No Signal with the Recess guys,
Yeah.
and then turning up to recess parties. That's not good forward thinking. Like, it's just not. Just use your head, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I'm obviously gonna be there. Like, and that's all that has to be said there.
But I think the problem is as well, people think it's like checking someone means you're on badness. No, I mean, it's just basic level of decency. Like, you do not talk to people like that.
Yeah.
Like, tweeting, even like atting someone directly, that's like you've seen me in the street and you're shouting something at me. Like, you can talk
You want me to see this?
Yeah.
but I'm just going about my business.
Yeah,
So
I think
if I
people.
then cross the road to talk to you, you brought that on yourself.
Yeah, but I think that people got really bold in like during the lockdowns and stuff
'Cause they
because it was 2 years where they were like, we don't have to see
you were
people
not
out
on
on
the
these streets for 2 years.
There's
Pent-up
someone I'm seeing
aggression.
tomorrow at the Fit Awards, and I'm gonna go.
Oh,
and have a
don't do it, man.
conversation.
Don't do it.
boy.
There's only one loser in this
I just want to
situation.
have a chat.
Especially when you're
I
like,
just wanna have a chat.
when I see you at the theater awards, it's on site.
It's like Hamilton, the rap battle scene. That's how it's gonna go now.
But as long as you don't instigate any violence,
No, not at all.
but it's fine. Like, because
violence. It's you said something. I'm here.
say it to my face, yeah,
and back it.
yeah, because people say stuff online because they have, and there's a huge problem with like to sound like. I say it to my little brothers all the time. My youngest brother's 12, the next one's 14, one's 19. I say, yo, like in the real world, there's real consequences. So you can say what you like. You can say what you like online, yeah. But remember that if you'd said that to that person in real life, you don't know how they would have acted.
Yeah.
So maybe you think you can get away with it online, but eventually you're going to have to see people. Like, so I'm in favor of people pulling up all the time. I've said it before. I think there is a place, I believe it's in Peru, yeah, where every Friday of New Year's, like of the New Year, they link up, and every grudge, every argument, everything that people have had, they have a punch up. They
It's
have a
like the
big fist.
Peruvian
Oh,
purge.
my- I need to go.
And-
Because all
yeah,
them men are like
literally.
5'2" as well. I need to.
Yeah. No, but literally they punch each other up. Like, they punch each other up and they get over whatever their beef is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, if people have such a problem, I would say, yeah, like, let's all link up Hyde Park 3 times a year. Let's link up. Let's link up. Because me, I'm very cheeky. I know I'm cheeky, but I also know I'll stand on anything I say.
Yeah.
Like, I'll stand on anything I say. Anyone can pull up on me anywhere. I've been on radio. Rappers have actually pulled up to my radio station and I've stood in it and I've been like, yeah, I said that. Like, what do you want? Like,
Showing up like 4:20.
literally, no, it's hilarious though, because your show will literally be like 12 to 2 and they'll pull up at 4:20. And it's like, bro, you're still mad about that. Like, the show was 4 hours ago. Like, you're actually still angry. Like, what the hell? Like, that has genuinely happened to me in life. But it's like I said, I'm happy to stand on what I say. I need people to be able to stand on what they say. Don't say things online that you would be scared to say to that person in real life.
Well, that kind of brings me on to the next one, and I think we'll probably keep this quite quick. Like black music, black culture, and gatekeeping the culture. There is not a group, and there is not no other types of music do this. I don't know why. There's this thing where people now are just taking, no other genre of music I follow is taken to Twitter Spaces twice a week, 3 times a week to just talk shit about who's allowed to make something, how they're allowed to make it.
Like grime in particular right now.
Exactly. And like, it makes no sense to me because as a genre, it seems to me the only genre that has not managed to flourish in the digital age, because everything's rooted to a perception of how things should be done.
Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's it. There's actually no more to say on this conversation. That is the problem with grime. Everybody in grime, besides, like, I always say there's probably about 9 great grime MCs left, yeah, and 5 of them have been rapping since like 2010.
Yeah.
Like, there's no really great new ones. In fact, I'd say all the great grime MCs, like I like XP, Manga, Blay, Jamie, like all the ones who are good now
Yeah.
have been doing it for ages. Zoo, like they've been doing it for ages. So it's like the issue is, like you're saying, and the reason why people who are great grime MCs like Stormzy or AJ Tracy leave is because the whole genre is just completely stuck in this. This has to be like this, and if you don't do this, it's not real grime. Whereas, look at rap in America, yeah, look at hip hop. Last night I listened to a Little Uzi track. It's on a Jersey club beat. Like, it sounds like he's quoting Lil Durk's drill track, This Ain't What You Want, on a Jersey club beat that could be played like literally when people vogue, like in ballroom.
Yeah.
Like, it's such an amalgamation of all these different references, yeah. And nobody's gonna turn around to Lil Uzi and be like, that's not real rap.
Yeah.
But with grime, you can do something a little bit experimental and be like, oh, that's not real grime.
Yeah.
Oh, shut up, man. Is it good music? Like, do you like it? Can you listen to it?
Yeah.
If yes, it's fine. Like, and it's like, I love grime. I grew up on grime, and like, I feel like grime MCs think I have an aversion to grime now, and I don't. Some of my best friends are grime MCs. Like, genuinely though, they are. They actually are though. And it's like I just want them to be more open-minded to what grime is.
Yeah.
I agree. And get off spaces as well.
Bro, I'm like, are you guys not exhausted? I'm like going have a break from work, and I'm like, it's 3:20 in the afternoon.
Bruv, some of them are waking up at 9, smoking a joint and talking on Twitter Spaces all day, and I'm just thinking, I don't want to be harsh, but do you have a job? Because I know I work in music, innit? I know you're not making that much money from the music you release.
Let's name names.
I'm not naming no names, innit? I'm not naming no names.
Be outside at 4:20.
That's a cruel thing to do, innit? But I'm just saying, there's a lot of MCs on Spaces, yeah? And it's like, because even if, let's hypothetically say you were a trapper, yeah? Let's just say you were that, and an MC, yeah? You still can't be on Spaces all day. Because you have places to go. You have places to be. People got to know where you are.
Yeah.
You have shots to link. Like, there's all this stuff going on there. Like, so I don't understand. Like, where is your money coming from? Like, how do you live? I don't know. It confuses me. Like, just either make great music or work really hard in your job. That's what it is. Like, one or the other. Like, the Spaces thing. I think Spaces is really useful when it's used in a great time. Like, let's say we had a subject we want to speak about. We're going to say, yo, everyone get on Twitter. We're going to meet at 8 p.m. I'm going to speak for 2 hours on this subject and have discourse. And then at 10 p.m. we're all going to get off and go and live the rest of our lives. Like, that is a useful way to use an open chat forum.
Yeah.
I think the problem with some grime artists is that they're too busy investing in other people's dreams. So, because one of the arguments I hear is that, well, the white boys are coming in and they're making it. It's like, well, that was happening in the 60s. It didn't stop Sam Cooke from making his music. It was happening in the 80s. It didn't stop Michael Jackson and Prince from making their music. It's happened in rap. It hasn't stopped Kendrick and, all those other artists making their music. And it's like, but they're taking what should be mine. We'll go and make some more new stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that actually the thing, because we spent so long talking about dreams, it's like the second you start thinking that something is owed to you, you're in serious problems because it's like, you're never gonna find peace. You're never gonna find happiness.
If you think it's owed for you as well, you won't put in the work to earn it. Like, you won't go and grab it because you think, oh, it's gonna come. It's owed to me. Like, entitlement is one of the worst things you can hold, I think, as a person. No matter where you're from or what you do, you cannot be entitled, because once you're entitled, it's like you lose your grasp of it. It's like entitlement is like trying to grab 2 fistfuls of water and hold it really tight and put it in a cup. Like, you're not gonna make it. Like, just let go. Let go and let it flow.
And it's them making sure the genre has to be so pure. Like, that is why it's struggling so much. How can you keep someone to this standard which isn't written down anywhere, isn't defined anywhere? How is anyone new ever gonna put any vibrancy in it? Like, we all listen to all different types of music. When, like, someone like Fred again, for instance, he can go and make any kind of music he wants. He's piano based. It's the same with James Blake when he came through. He can go make anything he wants. He can work with any artist he wants. He'll go and do Gang with Heady, and he can blow. Like, his blow was literally a year, and that guy has gone. He's making music with like Beyonce because he's free to do that. No one who's come in from a grime background would be allowed to do that, because they would, like, unless
they leave and turn their back on grime,
exactly,
like AJ Tracy or Stormzy or and then they get questioned because it's like, oh, how can you be the king of grime because you did this? It's like, bro, like, do you more? It's like grime MCs, suffer from the same thing that we suffer from as black people, where it's like everyone thinks everything has to be a monolith. Like, you're not really black if you don't do this, or you're not really black if you do this. You're not really a grime MC if you do this. If you sing on a hook, you're not really grime. If you go and do a song with Dua Lipa, you're not really grime.
Yeah.
If you put mayonnaise on...
Well, hold on.
The funny thing about that is like, you know, one of the recognised originators of grime was Wiley. Wiley was literally on tracks with Emily Sandé in like 2008. Wiley was doing tracks with Ed Sheeran in 2009. You know, Wretch Free 2's been on tracks with that. And so it's like, so what's this... It's like this idea of when somebody tells you that they long for the good old days, pin them down when the good old days were, because they never existed. And so this idea that there was a time where grime was just pure. It's like, well, no, because technically grime came out of garage came out of house came out of acid house, and you can go back and back and back. So it's always just remixes on other people's stuff. But then the other thing is like, how the problem with a form that's literally called grime, which is about being authentic, is the second you make 2 or 3 hits, you can't really be a grime artist and be authentic if that's what they want. You can't talk about,
I think that's the issue.
I'm living in the ends. Yeah, it's Hertfordshire now, bruv, isn't it?
I think that's the issue. I think the problem was so many big grime MCs made pop attempts that frankly weren't good. Like, we all forgive Skepta. I love Skepta. He's one of my favourite artists ever. Skepta's pop era, like in the late noughties to 2012, was really bad. Like, we actually just all ignore it. I'm actually an apologist for it. I enjoy it. I got more flavours down Walker. I love that tune with the girl from EastEnders. I was a Skepta apologist. Like, personally, I think some of them tunes were good, innit? But like, I also know that as somebody who will DJ out, I can't play those tunes because the room will turn around and look at me and be like, what is he doing, type thing.
You saying that Oopsie Daisy ain't in your bag?
Yeah, Chip is not, I'm not playing Oopsie Daisy. And Chip is a great MC. Champion might be though. Champion is a great tune regardless. Like, but anyway, I think the problem is people try and like, because some people did it and didn't necessarily quote do well, even if the song was a hit. Even Wiley with like the heat waves and all of this, their thing is like, well, look what happened when they did this, and then they came back to grime. Like, actually, you can be an artist and make that and make this. Like, you can do both of them, and they can all be good. Like,
I think part of the issue is, and this comes back to the conversation we were having yesterday about the Arctic Monkeys, right? I love their new album, but there's so many fans that are like, they stopped being good at this point, and everything that came after that point is no longer good music. I think the issue with grime is there's so many of us that have grime as a huge part of their identity, a specific part of their life. So you feel really, really precious about it. It's like, this is what grime is, and this was so important to me when I was 13, when I was 12, when I was... So anything that comes that's outside of that, that's not grime, that's not right, and it needs to stay pure to this. And it's like that with rock and roll, like Britpop and those kind of things. It's like, you come out, but you should be doing this. The drums need to be hard.
People do that with everything. That's why hipsters exist, because hipsters are just people who liked the artist at a certain point, and they're no longer like. And Arctic Monkeys is a great example because I can use that, and I'm fallible in this example. I'm not a massive fan of Arctic Monkeys anymore, but when they drop music that is good music, like Arabella, my thing is the real problem that everyone is struggling with is relatability. So I liked Monkeys when they came out, because I'm a working class kid, and I've seen England in it, like, and really and truly, class is a huge divide. Obviously, race is the biggest divide, but they give us race because of class. And if you listen to the early Arctic Monkeys albums, they're not rapping, they're singing, but sometimes songs he's basically rapping, about stuff that I relate to. Reebok workouts, riot bands, running from riot bands, Reebok workouts, underage drinking.
Trying to get into the club.
Like, like, he's rapping about stuff that
bouncer,
like all working class people relate to. So I liked Arctic Monkeys because I was like, this is this music that's talking about this experience that I relate to. And I wasn't a huge fan of when they did the whole like, we're Americanized now and we got quit.
Like the rockabilly sort of.
Yeah, because it's just like, bro, you're from Sheffield, bro. You literally wanted to be a rapper and then you decided you couldn't rap, so you got instruments for Christmas and you made a band. You're not this guy from Tennessee. Like, I don't want to, that's not what I want from you. And that's okay, because if you make a great tune like Arabella, I'm going to listen. Literally, I've been planning to listen to the album when I go home and clean later. That I'm sure there'll be songs on it that I like. But people struggle with seeing artists as someone relatable, somebody who's now no longer relatable. And I think that's the thing with grime. The vicinity scares them. Like, that really scares them.
Yeah.
What is the cost of clicks and clout?
Ooh.
So, I mean, we
Sound like a good essay title.
yeah, exactly. We're reluctant to talk about Ye because that's what he wants, and you know, my life's been a lot more peaceful since I muted him. But I think there's
You can unfollow. You can really love that.
exactly, yeah. It's I muted the word.
Oh, I've done the exact same thing.
Unfollowed him,
Yeah.
but I just muted the word because
I thought you still followed him, but just muted him. He's still there.
Nah.
But you don't see
He
it.
needs to know that I'm here.
and I can't remember how it slipped through, but this is less about him and more about, like, I guess this practice of knowing someone's going to say some foul shit and counting the cost that, you know what, I can say sorry later, but you get the clicks. Obviously, yeah, you went on Drink Champs for the third time. I saw
Third.
you did one, which is a two-parter, and then this is the second
I've never
time.
watched any of them.
Yeah, you came out and said that.
Yeah, I divorced Kanye a long time ago.
Exactly.
I saw this coming with Yeezus, which some people like, and that's
Yeah.
seminal. I'm not a big Yeezus fan because I'm a big music fan in it. So I'm just like, everyone's like, yo, this has never been done before. And I was like, yeah, it has. Like, it has actually.
lot.
Like, yeah, like people have made like rap music that straddles metal and techno and all that. Like, it exists. Like.
Yeah.
So this is not my first experience with it, which is why it's not groundbreaking to me. So I don't care. And I think there are songs on there that are amazing, like Hold My Liquor with Chief Keef. I'm a big Chief Keef fan. And like Bound To's the obvious one, but that's him doing old Kanye. But like, basically, I was just like, this is Emperor's New Clothes right now. Like, Kanye can give us anything musically and everyone's going to say it's 10 out of 10. It doesn't matter what he gives us at this stage. So I'm walking away now because this ain't for me type thing. And I think with this Drink Champs thing, I think it's hard because Nore is actually his friend, but I don't think Nore's platform is the right platform. So he's gone there because he's comfortable with him. But it's like, if for example, I did want to come here and speak about quantum physics, this might not be the platform for me to do it.
Yeah.
Because you guys are not quantum physicists. You might not actually care about that. So it's like, why am I here? Do you get it? Like, Kanye was here to say weird things.
Yeah, we had that last pod with Musa. He said a bunch of times he was just telling these stories like, oh, actually never actually said this on the podcast. The guy's on 2 podcasts. So if he wanted to say something, he's got the biggest platforms. He's like, I felt this is the right space to share this particular aspect of my identity. The Drink Champs, when you're having a shot every 10 minutes.
They're caning 1942 and smoking Cali flavors.
Yeah.
I think
Recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
What? They could be doing other drugs as well. I'm just saying the ones that I can see on screen.
Same.
Yeah.
Likely, yeah.
It's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for clicks.
But this is it.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
like,
yeah.
So I saw something last night that you know when something makes you irrationally mad, and I knew I was madder than I should be, and it was the front page of the Guardian website, and it said the headline was Johnson gaining ground on Sunak. Why is that? Why are you framing it like that? Why are you framing it like it's some sort of... Because they know that, and they had a big picture of Boris Johnson, it's going to drive clicks.
Yeah.
And they're not saying anything negative. They're kind of making it seem like rat race. And that's exactly how I felt about that Drink Champs thing. Because never forget that Nore kind of came on Twitter before the backlash and was like, my show did better than all your shows.
Yeah, better than the NFL.
Yeah, better than
And the
NFL.
thing is, it's like they factor in the apology tour. Because who's the last guest they just had on? Pharrell. So it's like there's no reflection. I was never married to Kanye. I didn't like his first album because I was well, I'll tell you what it was.
Hold on there, buddy.
Wait, you've never, in all the years that we've been doing this, you've never said that.
Well, no, I'll tell you why. I was
revisionism.
a real raucous records guy. Like, so I was listening to Talib Kweli,
Yeah,
Mos
yeah,
Def, and
yeah.
all of those.
So you weren't
And-
Kanye
So
fan.
Nah, I can actually see
No. So as a producer, I liked some of the production, but I didn't like his album. The reason I didn't like his album is people were like, oh, this is groundbreaking. He's saying and doing different things. I was like, first of all,
ain't real
no,
rap. Yeah.
he sounds like 30 guys that I know that are all black and all saying the same things and have all got different kinds of fashions. But then also it's like, you know, I just find it really challenging to have a track like Jesus Walks on the same album as New Workout Plan. It's like, Like, maybe that's just me and my own stuff.
But don't we always say that you don't have to be one way?
Of course you don't.
Thing.
But don't tell me that this guy's doing something that's never been done when he's got his hoe track on there. Like that was.
So is your issue with the album or your issue with the?
I just didn't think it slapped like that.
That's fine.
That's fine. But all of his projects.
It's wrong, but that's fine.
Well, it's completely subjtive. So
no, but that is an objectively bad opinion. Though.
Some
opinions are
let's not make
objectively
it a
bad.
Kanye.
Right.
But the point is. So I was never married to him. So I've always looked at it kind of detached, and I've always seen a streak of misogyny that comes through it because
definitely.
So for me, I go, then how are we enabling it? And it's. I don't know if you saw Trevor Noah, because somebody in the audience asked him if if he was beef, and he's like, well, beef has to go both ways for it to be a beef. He said, I'm not beefing him. I just don't think that a person that goes on and talks about their mental health and looks like they're having an episode is somebody that should necessarily be platformed in that state. And I was like, I agree with that, except I've read a few studies. There's not a single study that says that mental health makes you say racist things. And it doesn't make you anti-Semitic. And we've talked about this in a different context, where we've talked about having arguments with white people who then will drop an M-bomb. And it's like, doesn't matter that, there's no argument I'm going to have with somebody that's going to make me drop some racist stuff. And I think the issue is Kanye's going to be Kanye, but there is something brutally wrong with the economy of podcast, of the world that we're kind of living in. If you go, do you know what? Let's get Kanye on. We'll let him say whatever. Let him have a hot mic. We do 2 weeks of apology tours. Look, I'll take the bullet. I'll kind of say that I'm leaving the pod for reflection.
Follows go through the roof.
Because then I can go on and do the why I left the podcast. I was the one that made that decision. But actually, there's something really sick about it, and it's the same thing that I think is happening with Boris Johnson in this country. People forget that he made rules that led to people dying from COVID, that led to people dying from being cooped up, and it was hard. And they were partying till they vomited on the walls, and it's like, well, the next person was bad. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can't be like, do you know what? Mussolini was no Hitler.
Yeah, and I saw people who should know better saying, "I'm just saying, the economy didn't crash under Boris."
Are we gonna use the trains running on time?
It's so funny, because it's like, them games at like Brighton Arcade, where you put the coins in, and it pushes it to the edge, pushes it to the edge, pushes it to the end, and the whole point is to get the coins to push over the edge. Boris had 20 games in the arcade and pushed all the coins right to the edge, and all Liz did was come in and put in the last two people. Cool. It didn't crash under him because he left 2 weeks ago. Maybe if he stayed,
he was still Prime Minister 2 months ago.
Maybe if he stayed, it probably would have crashed. It was.
100%.
I'm not an economics expert, but economics experts were saying, the economy is probably going to crash. Liz obviously didn't make it any better, but it was going to do that. And it's because of these policies of austerity, like you're saying, that have been in our country for years. So it's like...
But what does the Conservative Party and Kanye have in common? They recognise that if you do up white supremacy, it's going to make you money. Who cares? Lord Rochester in the 16th century said,
"They got so much in common."
I don't want to be reviled. I don't care about being reviled. I just want to make money.
But also, it's not what they have in common. It's the way that they're being portrayed by journalists and
marionetted
and the media. And I think, to the question of how do you do that sort of cost benefit analysis? Let's say I'm a journalist and I'm like, okay, is it worth it to have this really problematic person on who maybe I don't agree with just to get those clicks up? And it really just comes down to what are your values as a journalist or as a media outlet? Because if you're being led by a core value of having integrity and like we talked about that objective truth and so on and so forth, the decision is already made. You just you either don't have that conversation or that interview go live, or you have the skills as a journalist and as somebody who interviews someone to provide context, to push back, to ask the right questions, to frame it in a way that has integrity. And that's just not what was done. And it's not what is done with Kanye.
Did you read the Teen Vogue article by Versa Sharma? Who was just stop platforming him. And the quote that stuck out for me was, every post about one of his fits of a day, every tweet about his latest collaboration, which will eventually fall apart, every meeting you take or show you cover, it's all enabling complicit behavior. We need to make a collective concerted effort to stop and make it last for more than one season. And it's like, that's really good, but what if your whole job is about generating revenue? How do we fix this model?
Well,
you said you're not an
yeah.
economist, Scully, but if you were an economist, how do we fix this model?
I think so. Okay, cool. First, to look at Nore and Drink Champs, what it is for me, in my eyes, I don't think Nore was malicious or even planned to go on the apology tour, like you're saying. I think Nore just has a platform and he knows Kanye's comfortable with him and he's going to talk. And I think, yeah, he did think about the clicks and he's happy with them. But I also don't think that, like, let's be honest, not everybody has the range. Like, you're on Nore's show, you take shots and smoke weed. That's literally why you're there. Like, he actually doesn't know what wild shit anyone's going to say. People go on there and say wild shit all the time.
When he went on the Breakfast Club and he went on Ebro in the morning, he was saying, "Oh, it got out of control. I thought I could control it." I'm like, I failed as a journalist. I'm like, bro, you are Nore. You are not a journalist.
You're a rapper who has cool stories and talks to other rappers who tell us their cool stories.
Your
Your platform is about anecdotes. Like, and my issue with Nore is Nore should have the forethinking to be like, actually, I'm not a journalist and I'm not ready to push back on this. So you either, like you said, don't put it out whatsoever, or when Kanye calls you, you say, this platform might not be right, but maybe if you went on I don't know, go and sit to Trevor Noah and you two have a conversation, like pushing people in the right direction. Some things are not for you. Like, it's all right to say no to some opportunities. Like,
and this, the other side, he went on the shop and they made a big thing about, he came on the shop, he got in an argument with Jeezy, and then Spring Hill and Mav Carter were like, we decided we couldn't air the episode. Like, how do you not know who this man is?
Because that came after the tweet, didn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's disingenuous. Like,
it was very.
If you're not going to put it up, just don't put it up. You don't need to come out with a statement or anything. Like, you invited him on there in the first place.
You wanted to show how much integrity you have, which in turn then takes away the integrity that you have.
And
CSR, corporate social responsibility. That's all it was.
And where it really is frustrating is, like, he did the non-apology, didn't he? He's like, I'm sorry if you feel, and that's a real trigger for me. But he refuses to take accountability. And whatever the mental state of that person, if the ecosystem around him continues to engage with him, you make it so that he doesn't have to take any accountability.
Yeah.
Accountability is normally something bad has happened and I have lost something, and now I need to go away and reflect so that I can get something back.
Yeah.
But if it's just like, and the problem is obviously he'll never need to do accountability because he is the new darling for the far right.
And I think the thing that really, really bothers me about that phenomenon too is that when we use people struggling with mental health issues as the reason for why they cannot take accountability, because they're not mutually exclusive. We all have talked about on this podcast the various mental health issues we have dealt with, and it doesn't mean that it gives us a pass to be an asshole or to have really troublesome, problematic ideologies.
I can't go out onto the street, and racially abuse a South Asian person, and then when they say, "Why'd you do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, I have anxiety."
Yeah, exactly.
Because they'll just be like, "What the hell? Like, are you alright? Like, what? Oh, I'm just throwing stuff at children," and they're like, "What's going on? I've got ADHD." Like, what's that? Like, I don't get how we've ended up in this space where it's a get out of jail free card for him. And the funniest thing even is about, like, the far right thing that he's trying to engage with Candace Owens and Brian Parler and all of this. I don't even think the far right like him or take him in like that. Like, I think they look at it as like, yo, look at this guy who's like making a mess.
They don't call him a guy.
And well,
that's one useful nigger.
Yeah, making a mess over there, and he's it's fun for us. And
he lets them reach people that they couldn't reach before, right?
Yeah,
like all these people, people are taking these. He says something wild or anti-Semitic, and people are like, actually don't fuck with this. And then you look at the comments, people are like, well, it's just exactly what he said was going to happen. I'm like, give it a rest. But
they're the same kind of people that are still making defences for R. Kelly, that are still making defences for Bill Cosby. And it's like, this wouldn't happen if da-da-da. And it's like...
But he was gonna buy NBC.
But on that, and this is, we'll probably just finish on this, is the Candace Owens link, and this is a funny story.
What, the grift?
Yeah. So Candace Owens and Kanye tight. Kanye, they've been hanging out. Kanye does his White Lives Matter. She's defending any, they think it's a great idea. Everything is a massive backlash. Kanye gets in front of cameras, starts saying all this wild anti-Semiticness, loses his social accounts. She's obviously putting a battery in him because on her shows, she's defending it. He gets banned from all the platforms. Kanye's like, you know what? I'm buying my own social media platform. Passay tries to buy this Parler thing, which is failing financially. Who owns Parler?
Her husband.
Candace Owens' husband. Like,
Didn't Trump try to buy it at one stage?
Yeah, he's on Rumble or something. But I was like, he cannot see that he's being how he's being manipulated. This is the wildest thing.
And it's not a game though, is it? Because but it is to Candace Owens, because how did Candace Owens try to break through originally? Anybody know? Candace Owens tried to break through originally by talking about her experiences of being racially abused. Wow. And then when that didn't cut through on social media, she did the 180. And it's like, it's all, and I get that kind of, you're trying to make your money, but there's people that die at the end of that.
And you're still disposable, because she did the opposite thing. Stacey Dash was a mouthpiece for the conservatives, and then when she was done, she's like, oh, but remember, I am black. And we won't have her back.
Now she's crying over DMX 2 years too late.
Yeah.
I would say you can be anything you want to be in this life, but don't be a snitch or a coon. That's my last gem for you. That's all I got.
We're gonna wrap this up and take it home on this now. Oh, let's go on the camera. We're gonna wrap this up now. Scully, I was not expecting the gems. There was some gems I was expecting.
That was mad.
But
from up top, yeah,
a phenomenal range.
Thank you. I'm here all the time. We're in South London. Tell me when you're gonna do part 2. Yeah. Tell me when you're gonna do
pull
part
up
2.
if you want.
We'll get you through for part 2. Neef wants
this could be my drink champs.
Yeah.
No, we drank the first ever episode. Never again.
Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't go.
Oh, come on. Not with me. Just one.
Neef wants a hat-trick ball. We'll definitely get you back through, bro.
Oh, Neef's been on twice.
Yeah, he came on twice.
Oh, I definitely got to give a hat trick if Neef's doing a hat trick.
Yeah,
no way. Telling me I'm only worth one appearance. Neef gets 3. What is that?
We'll get you on the second time, and then we'll give you both a hat-trick ball on the same day.
On the same. Yeah. Me and Neef there. That's
exactly.
a lot of fun.
Foden Haaland.
Yeah. I like it.
It's going to bring the energy down, but I have to do it. I really just want to give condolences to the family of Jo Melville. Jo was a brilliant actress who was performing in Nine Night, the show that was being directed by Amanda Huxtable, who was taken ill and died. And I really wanted to do it at the front end, but I really wanted to dedicate this episode to her and the family and all the people involved in the production. For Jamaican people, we know what Nine Night is. I'm not going to explain it. Those that understand don't need it to be explained. And the reviews were pristine, and it's just an awful thing to happen. But yeah, we send our love and our condolences, and I work in theatre, and anything that I can do to help anybody that's been involved with Jo or with the show, just hit me up.
There you go.
Rest in power. Nine Night is an amazing play.
We out.
Well,
Cool.
There you go. Yeah, I think